Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your patience. Today, we're joined by the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Mauricio Pochettino, to discuss the 27-player roster for the training camp ahead of our June matches against Turkey and Switzerland. Just a few background notes as we begin. The players will begin reporting to Chicago for training on June the 1st. The team will then head on June 6th to Hartford, nearly 1 year before the World Cup comes to North America. The U.S. will take on Turkey June 7th at Pratt & Whitney Stadium and Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut. The match will be broadcast live on TNT, True TV, and Telemundo Deportes, and streamed on Max, Universo, and Peacock. 3 days later, USA-Switzerland, presented by Coca-Cola, will serve as the send-off match of the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Geodis Park in Nashville will be the host, with the match being broadcast on TNT, Max, Universo, and Peacock. Both matches carried live on radio on Westwood Sports in English, and of course, Football Day Primera in Spanish. As always, if you'd like to get in a queue to ask a question, you can do so by virtually raising your hand. And
First of all, Michael, if you can give me the one second, I want to apologize because I had a problem with my laptop, because that is why, because we are a little bit in the late 10 minutes. I want to apologize everyone because I don't like that type of thing happen, and apologize to everyone that was waiting for 10 minutes. Sorry.
Appreciate it, Mauricio. And with that, we'll begin with questions and start with Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Mauricio, for doing this.
You're welcome.
We saw Matt Crocker's statement on Christian Pulisic and his absence before, but I was hoping you could explain what that conversation was like with him, why you decided it was best to let him stay back this summer and get ready for the busy year ahead. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, I think it's so clear, the statement from the federation, from Matt, the sporting director. I think, like explained in this statement, we all have a conversation between each other. And I think that the best decision in that case is what is going to happen is to give rest. And of course, when you assess all the circumstances and the things, not only from Christian, it's not for different players, I think to take the best decision, thinking in the principal objective that is the World Cup, is really important. Always, how you know, and everyone can have different opinion. You know, many people can say it's really important for us to be all together for the last time before the World Cup, but always, like a coaching staff, like we always listen the player, and then of course we take the decision. We have our own idea about everything, but I think after the consideration in every single case, and in that case about Christian, I think we decide the best for him, for the best for the team, for the best for the national team is the decision that we made.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, Mauricio.
Hello, how are you?
Given Christian's absence, but also the absences of Anthony Robinson and Weston McKennie, I mean, how much are your preparations for the World Cup compromised and negatively impacted because not everyone's going to be together? And this was the last time that the whole group could be together for a really extended period of time before the World Cup. So how much does this impact you?
Yeah, sometimes we give too much importance, no, in to be together, and sometimes the group maybe sometimes doesn't work in this way or build in this way. I think every single circumstance, I think we need to consider it, because it's still 1 year to be in the World Cup. It's true that it's possible that to miss an opportunity to have all the players that maybe you have in your head thinking in 1 year. But I think in the same time, it's so exciting to see different players, young player that maybe not played, you know, or they are going to make the debut in the national team. I think people that maybe can challenge, you know, different names that everyone consider that maybe is going to arrive to the World Cup. I think it's important to create this challenge. I really believe that to build a team is about to to stay together, yes. To have time to work, yes. But I think we cannot underestimate the player. Players are so clever. The most important is how we are going to build the core of the player that really feel that how important is every time that you spend, even if you spend not too much time, is the quality of the time that you are going to be together. Maybe you can spend one month together, but it's the attitude or the if you don't want to stay or if you don't have the energy or you doesn't feel great, sometimes it's better not to be there. And I think all the consideration that we were working in the last few months after March, I think we create the best roster that we think that can deliver, what we wanted or what we want. And I think it's important to think in people that can challenge in 1 year time some names, that everyone consider that need to be because they are a good player or because they are performing well today. And I think is to create this competitivity on the squad is very, very important. I am so excited to work with this squad. I think we need also to give the credit, not only us, the coaching staff, is not all the area, the scouting and of course, with the sporting director, with Matt Crocker and all the people that is in the federation that was working and we were assessing more than 100 players. To make the list was so difficult, 60 players, and then now to go with 26. I think it was so difficult in the moment to make the election, no? And I think we were so hard putting all the circumstances and the situations to create the best roster. First to play, to compete in the 2 friendly games, to work from the June 1, and then to prepare the Gold Cup. That is going to be really, really important. That we need to send a signal to our fans that the team that we want to be in the next year until to the World Cup, and then of course the World Cup be in our best. But I think it's a great opportunity for different players to have the chance to challenge and to try to get a place in 1 year time to the World Cup, because I think that is really, really important for us. I think that is for me is the most important thing now. We are working for the national team. We are working for not only few players, we are working for the whole country and the players that are abroad of USA, but also with the player. They start competing in February, March in the MLS, that they are fresh, they are already in competition. And of course, that also is a point important because we wanted to mix and to have this mix with energy, because other players that are in the best condition, in a physical and in mental, and then that is important.
Next will be Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Mauricio, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
How much of the decisions were based on players, fatigue or injury, the regulars not being selected, and how much of it maybe was trying to shake things up or send a message after the results of the Nations League with many of your top players? Thanks.
Very good question. I will give you and the people be, intuitive and but no, I think the most important for me, like a coach, is not to punish. I don't like to punish. I think the most important here is that we are there to try to bring our knowledge and try to translate our experience to an organization that is not an organization with 100 or 100 and few years. I think USA Soccer, if you compare with the big, confederations, maybe we can say that we are a young federation, and the culture is completely different. Because we are talking about soccer, soccer is in the country is fighting to try to find our place there. And of course, if we are talking about women and men, is different too. But I think if you compare with NFL, American football, or basketball, or baseball, or hockey, I think we are a little bit below. But I think that is a great opportunity to match this type of a sport. That is why I think we are there to try to translate our culture, try to understand, okay, how the people are there. I think we have a big knowledge about that, and of course to try with our example and with our knowledge to translate how to compete in our best, is to try to get the best from our player, also to try to help the federation in all the areas that we can be influential. No, I think that is important. But in your question, I think it's not to punish. I think it's about to, if we didn't perform in March, is the first responsibility is my responsibility. But of course, after to analyze and to see all that the thing where we're going, I think it's important for us also to find different solution or try to find different way to approach. And one of the things is to give possibility to maybe different player to join the national team.
Next would be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Mauricio. I'm going to sneak two questions in here if I can. The first is just on the decisions around Yunus Musa and Josh Sargent. And the second, going back to the day when you were announced as coach, you talked about how it didn't matter if it was Copa America or World Cup or friendly. When you played for Argentina, it all meant the same because of what you were representing. And I wonder, how those dynamics change a little bit now with national teams, because players are playing so much more. The number of games that they play at the club level, the international level. We have a new tournament, Club World Cup, this summer. How do you think the demands on players are changing, and how do you think that impacts national team relationships and the role of a national team and kind of having to understand the weight on players versus the players, desire to represent their national teams against kind of the way their body feels?
I start for the last question. No, I think all the players want to compete for your national team, and I think the demands today are so high, and the level that they need to perform, and the demand from in all the areas that are affecting, like the physical condition and the mental stress and everything. I think it's important how we assess. That is a big responsibility after a big season, a long season, traveling, playing, competing, Wednesday, Sunday, winning, losing, performing well, performing not so well. I think we need to consider after 10, 11 months competing every single circumstance. And then what I need to tell you is every single circumstance always is different. All we are different, and in the way that we deal with that is different. That is why we need to consider it in individual way to the player, knowing the player and listen the player. And that is after we have the capacity and the experience and the knowledge to make our our decision. Always, I think we are going to take decision thinking in the balance, in the balance in between defending the national team, the interest of the national team, but defending also the player interest, and that is so important. But I think here we cannot talk about nothing more that all the players want to be on the national team, all have commitment with the country, all want to be, but sometimes you need to prioritize things, because always it's time some risk, and the balance, you can lose the balance. And then you asked me about why not our Sargent and Musa, no?
Yes.
That was the second. Well, Sargent is a decision, is a only football decision that we need to choose between different striker. And in the case of Musa, he communicated us to the federation Monday that because of personal problem, he withdrew from the list. He is going to be or was planned to be on the list, on the squad, on the roster, but he withdrew himself for personal reason, and that's it. We cannot go more deeper in that question, because when that happened, it's up to the player to share or not to share that problems.
Well, Paul Ivis would be proud of you, so thanks for representing. Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mauricio.
You're welcome.
We talk about the absences of Christian and Tim Weah and even Gio Reyna, and these are the guys that generally are in charge of scoring and setting up goals for this team. And you look at the group you have here, and it's a lot of familiar faces, guys who've been around the national team, and guys like Balogun and Downs, who you haven't gotten to work with yet. Heading into this Gold Cup and these friendlies, how do you kind of envision your attack looking, and how do you kind of compensate for the guys that will be missing?
I think we cannot go to the competition or go to the two friendly game missing player or thinking that we are not going to be competitive, or we are not going to score, or we are not going to do well because we are missing player. I think the good example is March. I think with all the names, I think that everyone, I think, was agree with us. We didn't perform. That was another thing that happened, and we cannot change. But I think the important thing is to provide to the new player the possibility to challenge, and to challenge the possibility to take a place. I think my first conversation is, the first approach that we are going to have when 1st of June, when we'll be all together, is listen, guys, you have the possibility to defend your place. When you are now in the national team, it's not because you are here to try to replace people that is sure that is going to be here. No, you have the possibility to defend your place. How you are going to defend your place, that is the important thing for us. You need to fight. You need to show attitude, right attitude, but not only that, perform and be brave and follow the rules that we are going to settle in the group. I think it's really important for us, and of course they need to know that they do, and we are satisfied about their performance. They are going to compete in a fair way with different people that maybe are not involved today in this squad.
Next will be Daniel Schwartzman.
Thank you, Michael. Buenos días, Mauricio, qué gusto de saludarte. Si nos pudieras platicar en español un poco el tema de Pulisic, cómo fue la comunicación y si te decepcionó un poco la decepción que tomó Christian.
Bueno, como lo dije al principio, como lo dijo Matt Crocker en el comunicado que hizo, está claro que tanto Christian como su gente se acercaron a nosotros, a la federación, a tratar de compartir el sentimiento que tenían, y después de muchas conversaciones, análisis y assessment, análisis, ¿no?, de la situación, todos juntos hemos decidido lo mejor, que es que Cristian se tome el descanso requerido y que pueda estar en las mejores condiciones para comenzar la pretemporada con su equipo, y que pueda estar en las mejores condiciones de rendir para poder ser considerado otra vez en el equipo nacional.
Thank you, Daniel. Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
All right, thank you, Mauricio, for this. Two questions. First, can you go through the reasons for some other players for their absence, whether it's injury or fatigue? Anthony Robinson, Joe Scally, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Tanner Tessman. And secondly, given the results of the Copa America and the Nations League, what is your message to a fan base that's starting to question whether this group of players has the heart necessary to compete for the national team?
Okay, Ronald, I start from first. I think Pulisic already I explained in English and in Spanish, and I think Anthony, I think Musa already explained in English the situation. I think I don't need to clarify, no, the situation. And then Anthony is another player that could be on the list. We were waiting until to the end to decide or to make the decision. But it's true that after also that he missed March camp in Los Angeles because of a problem, an issue problem, you know. And after all these months, all that how he was, you know, with Fulham treating that situation and dealing with that. And in the last few weeks, we considered talking with our medical staff and the medical staff from Fulham the situation. Last week, he was also visiting different specialists to see. Still, it's not clear the situation. I am not doctor to explain the issue or the problem that he has, but I think it's a player that is not training too much in the last few months. He's only competing, and now next weekend, in the weekend, we'll see if he can play or not. But having, you know, to give a squad and with the possibility that maybe him have to take some decision, or maybe he has not be ready to compete in the two friendly games and then to the World Cup, I think it was a big risk. And in this moment, I think we all consider it that need to, you know, to pay attention, to keep going the advice of the medical staff of course, of Fulham, and see how he's going to be after the season, how he's going to deal with that problem, and that is why we consider that it's not possible to be on the roster.
The second question was about after Copa America and the Nations League, the message to the fans
Okay.
of the team.
Yes, I think I feel in a personal way that I need to talk with them. I think it's important for them to trust on us. But it's our responsibility to send some signal to them. I think our fans need to see our team fighting and playing and performing and playing well, yes, but fighting for the flag and being, you know, always in every single game match the aggressivity of the opponent. And that is what we want to show in these two friendly games and also after in the World Cup. I think if our fans start to see that energy and to translate this type of, you know, energy, I think the fans are going to be positive with us. I think because we have an amazing fans. I can repeat in Spanish because I think we have a lot of Spanish, you know, people. And I think, creo que nuestros fans lo que esperan es que el equipo mande una buena señal, una señal que sea contundente, de agresividad, de un equipo que quiere luchar y que quiere pelear por cosas importantes. Y creo que eso es nuestra responsabilidad transmitir. Seguro que si nos comportamos de esa forma, la gente va a venir a vernos y a alentarnos y a transmitir su energía porque tenemos grandes fans.
Gracias otra vez. Y we'll continue with Sanjay Sujan Thakumar.
Gracias, Miguel, y hola, Mauricio. Mauricio, sin Tim Weah y Christian, parece que ustedes faltan extremos, verdaderos extremos. ¿Puedes hablar de quién puede jugar como extremo en este plantel? El perfil que quieres en esa posición, quizás depende en cuál banda. Y también por qué Alex Zendejas no fue convocado, porque él juega muy bien en México ahora. Gracias.
Bueno, empiezo por lo último, en español, ¿no?
Sí.
Alex Sendejas va a jugar el 1 de junio contra Los Ángeles para ver si cualifica o no para la Club World Cup. Entonces es un jugador donde había el riesgo de considerarlo, lo teníamos en consideración, pero el riesgo de que si ese partido se gana, pues serían ellos los que estarían en disposición de ir a jugar, ¿no? Por eso hemos considerado hasta el último y hemos decidido por otros jugadores. Bandas, tenemos a jugadores que nosotros queremos ver, como Quinn Sullivan, que es un perfil de banda que lo está haciendo muy bien y que merece tener una posibilidad. Yo creo que es un momento perfecto para él. Jugadores como Brendan Aronson, que puede jugar por banda. Y si vamos a diferentes perfiles, Diego Luna o Jack McLean, que pueden jugar por la banda, yendo adentro como jugando en los pockets, ¿no? También hemos visto que hemos considerado en la plantilla tener laterales que sean profundos, que sean ofensivos, como Sergiño Dest, como Alex Freeman, o de Juan Jones o Max Arfsten, jugadores que son muy ofensivos, que no son laterales defensivos. Entonces, teniendo jugadores laterales que son muy profundos y que se manejan muy bien en ataque, consideramos, y porque también el perfil de jugadores que podíamos traer era tratar de confeccionar una dinámica o una táctica, una idea de juego un poco más basado en laterales más profundos, con jugadores de interior que manejen mucho mejor los entrelíneas y los half space, ¿no? que llamamos. Por eso es una de las cosas que quizás consideramos traer más delanteros, laterales más ofensivos y medios que puedan tener la comprensión del juego para que podamos ser mucho más dominantes en campo contrario, tengamos más esa capacidad de manejar en los entrelíneas y que la circulación sea mucho más fluida con jugadores que puedan tener el balón y percutir con laterales y delanteros más específicos.
We'll take a couple more questions and continue with Kyle Bond.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mauricio, for your time. I really appreciate it. Looking over the roster, it seems like there was maybe a preference to select domestic-based players and leave off some of those from Europe. You've already talked about Josh Sargent, Carter Vickers, Trusty, Tanner Tessman. Was that an intentional collective approach, or was that just a consequence of a number of individual decisions?
I think it was football decision. When you our responsibility is to analyze and assess the player in the same way. We cannot assess the player because playing in one team, play in Europe or play in the MLS in one team or another. No, I think all the players that I seen are for first time with us. I think all deserve to be there and deserve to be or to have the chance. I think you were talking about different names that are in the same level of the players that now are involved in the roster. I am so clear about that. After it's about not to lose the possibility when you have the chance. My feeling in all this come from October, November, January, and March. I think too many players, they took the chance and deserve to come back, because not only perform and behave well in the camp, if not after they keep performing in their teams. That is why I think it's important when previous question you say to me maybe is to punish or to say, oh, pay attention to some player. I think in every single what we want to create in our national team, I think is people desperate to come, but desperate to come to perform. To perform means that follow the rule, create good atmosphere, be part of the team, be able in every single aspect in our demand. When I say our demand is the federation demand, It's not Mauricio or Jesus or Michael. No. It's our demand, like a federation, and understand that it's possible be the last possibility to be with us because we only have time to come to maybe train 1, 2, 3 times, play, compete. 1, 2 recovery and play, and then go home, and then maybe wait 2 months to be all together. If you arrive to the camp and you want to spend nice time, play golf, go for a dinner, visit my family, visit my friend, and that is the culture that we want to create. No. What we want to do is to go to the national team, arrive, and be focused, and spend all my focus and energy in the national team because we need to create this culture about win and to we need to chase our aim. If we want to be good in 1 year time, we need to think that today is the important day because we need to build from today our way, not to arrive. If not, I say, okay, I wait. No, it's the World Cup is in 1 year. It's in 6 months. It's in 1 month, and then it's late. That is why I think it's important to have different approach. And for us, I think we learn a lot in the last few camps, for sure in March, and I think it's about to be, maybe use a different way to approach this opportunity is amazing. We are so motivated, so excited. That is why, I am full energy. We are full energy working to try to create a good group that we can feel proud.
Our last question comes from Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thank you, Michael. I'm Mauricio. Jonathan Tannenwald of the
Hello,
Philadelphia
how are you?
Inquirer here. Very well, thank you. You spoke a moment ago about the multiple positions that Brendan Aronson can obviously play, as he's done for you before, and he wasn't there in March, and now he's back. What do you want to see from him? What do you hope he brings to this group? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't hear because
Brendan Aronson. What
Yes.
do you hope he brings to this group? What do you want to see from him?
Okay. For me, Brendan, okay, we know Brendan, his quality. The most important is that he keep bringing his energy, positivity, enthusiastic, passion. I think it's this type of player that transmit to the rest of the team these feelings and this emotion that is really important. And of course, after need to perform. But I think he's a player that already have the experience. He was really good last season in Leeds. They won the championship. I think important player in the way that we want to build our spirit. That is important. That he need to understand that he cannot stop to being like he is.
Thank you, Mauricio, and thanks for everyone for joining.
You're welcome, Michael. And thank you, and sorry again for the 10-minute waiting.
Just last one point before we go. The official roster for the Gold Cup, the 26-player roster, is due to CONCACAF on June 4th. So we'll be communicating June 4th, the final 26-player roster for the 2025 Gold Cup. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. All the best.